Now, here we have a typical bottle of American bourbon. And this video, again, has nothing to do with this particular product, but it's here to show a point. And the point is that 1.5 ounces of this is equal to a glass of wine or a glass of beer. And I talk about this, and if this is the first time seeing me, well, my wife passed away from alcohol use disorder about 5 years ago. And I talk about the effects of alcohol on the body. This particular video is going to go over in detail the effects of alcohol on the body. My wife was drinking near the end about 25 to 30 beers a day. I mean, she would get it through DoorDash. I mean, I have many videos on how she got it, but the point is that she was drinking nearly one of these every day, because one of these is very comparable to a case of beer, for example. Not completely, about 80% of that bottle. Life-threatening amount, obviously, as it certainly caused her demise. So you have to realize that even alcohol in small amounts can affect you, and I'm going to go over that in a minute. Now, I think the most damaging thing that alcohol does is when a mother drinks when they're pregnant. Luckily, my wife didn't do that. She did refrain from alcohol for the 10 months when she was pregnant with my son for 10 months. But if she hadn't, and I'm so glad she didn't, it can create what's called a FASD, which is fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. If a mother drinks during pregnancy, it can create poor memory, speech delays, poor coordination, and intellectual disabilities in the child. No one should start life in that unfair advantage because the mother drank. Being aware that, I mean, it's obvious for many, but if you're pregnant, please do not drink. The other thing is the most affected part of the body is for the developing brain. Okay, if you have teenagers up until before you're even 25, because you're still developing, your brain is still developing up until that era, it creates a reduction in the size of the frontal lobe in a developing brain. That's between the ages of, say, 13 and 25, somewhere around that range. It affects learning, memory, fear sensing. It affects connections between brain areas that regulate emotional and cognitive functioning. So you're messing up a developing brain by drinking alcohol in your high school, teenage years, college years. You know, it's not a good time to start with alcohol. Now, fundamentally, alcohol will affect the liver. Obviously, the biggest one is the brain, the gut, intestinal tract, the pancreas, lungs, and the cardiovascular system. A lot of people don't realize that. It attacks the immune system, which explains challenges in hypertension, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, and recurring lung infections. Now, most chronic alcoholics or long-term alcoholics, people who drink on a consistent basis, there's a very high probability that you're going to develop what's called fatty liver disease. 10 to 20% of heavy drinkers will develop cirrhosis, and that comes from fatty liver disease. You can also create alcohol hepatitis attached to the liver, which creates inflammation to the liver, which damages liver cells. Symptoms include fever, abdominal pain, jaundice, vomiting. And this can also lead to overall liver failure when you need to actually get a liver replacement. Now, alcohol can affect the pancreas, the pancreas is really designed to help break down food, and you can develop pancreatitis. And this causes, the alcohol causes inflammation from obvious drinking. And it's almost nearly always fatal inflammation. Okay, alcohol will increase the risk of pancreatic cancer as well, and it's almost always fatal. I mean, you have a 5 to 10% chance of surviving pancreatitis. And then there's the lovely world of kidneys. It'll affect your kidneys really the same way. It creates inflammation in your organs. Okay, and drinking alcohol can lead to kidney disease, or they can be, as they become inflamed. It can create kidney stones, urinary tract infection, intestinal nephritis. It's a condition where the kidneys are inflamed and they're unable to function properly. Okay, kidneys overworked will also cause dehydration in your body, which is not good for the rest of your organs. And one of the scariest things, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, is that consistent alcohol intake will cause cancer. A high probability. I mean, you're creating a greater and greater risk. It's, you know, because alcohol is a known carcinogen, and this is why it breaks down your organs and causes cancer. But the number one cause is it creates is breast cancer, you know, in women and in men, liver cancer, colorectal cancer, esophageal cancer, your esophagus, anywhere the alcohol is going down, head and neck cancers, which include the mouth and throat cancers. Risk a high volume and consistency, you know, even one drink a day can create a higher risk than not drinking at all. It's important to understand these things. And really, the last little tidbit I want to talk about, and I think is the most dangerous, is a thing called Wernicke-Korsakoff, and that's where your brain actually shrinks. It's usually in later stage alcoholics, but it's a form of alcohol dementia. A lot of people know it as wet brain. The frontal lobe actually shrinks, and it's brought on by a B1 deficiency, because most people who are getting most of their nutritional intake because of alcohol are not eating properly. So I mean, it's a horrible thing all the way around. If these are things that you didn't know about, okay, I hope you do now. And really, the last thing I want to say is I talk about these because my wife almost had every one of these. I mean, the only thing I think she didn't have cancer, but she had Wernicke-Korsakoff, liver problems, pancreatic problems. All her organs were really shutting down near the end because they were incredibly infected. And it was a horrible, atrocious way to go, and I wouldn't want anybody else to go through it. This is why I talk about this on a daily, really in a daily way on this platform. It's so important for people to be more aware of how it affects their children, themselves, and we haven't even got into how it affects relationships on this particular video. But again, I want to go over her memoir is called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. Now, internationally, we have a new link. You can buy it anywhere in the world. It's in my link tree. You can also buy it on my website and Amazon. Again, I have the Facebook group. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. Link is in the bio. And again, we have the I have the complete coaching program, that's really designed to help you and your family set up a breakthrough call. It takes about 45 minutes. We do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your life. The call is free, but I want to set up a whole blueprint of how to really get you through the rest of your life. The call's free, the course is definitely not. But again, thanks for listening.